Welcome to today's Medicare 360 show. I'm your host, Jennifer Lee, and we will be diving in on Medicare and You Handbook on Section 7, page 91, Get Help Paying Your Health and Drug Costs. Let's dig into Medicare Savings Programs, that's MSPs. If you have limited income and resources, you may be able to get help from your state to pay your Medicare costs if you meet certain conditions. There are four kinds of Medicare savings programs: Qualified Medicare Beneficiary QMB. The QMB program covers Part A and or Part B premiums. In addition, Medicare providers aren't allowed to bill you for the services and items Medicare covers, including deductibles, coinsurance, and copayments. If you get a bill for these charges, tell your provider or the debt collector that you're in the QMB program and can't be charged for Medicare deductibles, coinsurance, and copayments. If you've already made payments on a bill for services and items Medicare covers, you have the right to a refund. If you're in a Medicare Advantage plan, you should also contact the plan to ask them to stop the charges. To make sure your provider knows you're in the QMB program, show both your Medicare and Medicaid or QMB card each time you get care. If you have original Medicare, you could also give your provider a copy of your Medicare Summary Notice, MSN. Your MSN will show you're in the QMB program and shouldn't be billed. Log into or create your Medicare account at medicare.gov to sign up to get your MSNs electronically. If your provider won't stop billing you, call 1-800-MEDICARE. We could also confirm that you're in the QMB system. So you could definitely give us a call on that to see which level of the Medicare saving program you're in. So let's go on the second one, which is a specified low income Medicare beneficiary, SLMB, covers Part B premiums only. So keep in mind the QMB is really like 100% full, everything should be covered. And then the SLMB, depending on your income, only covers a Part B premium, which in 2025 is, my gosh, I just blanked out, 142.50. Okay, qualified individual, QI, covers Part B premium only. QI is only available for people who don't qualify for any other Medicaid coverage or benefits. Okay, qualified disabled and working individuals, QDWI, covers Part A premium only. You may qualify for this program if you have a disability, you're working, and you lost your Social Security disability benefits and premium Part A because you returned to work. If you sign up for the immunosuppressive drug benefit, page 52, you have limited income and resources but don't have full Medicaid coverage, you may qualify for health paying the cost through QMB, SLMB, or QI program. Contact your state to apply. Now go to page 119 to 122 for definitions of the blue words. Okay, so Section 7, get help paying your health and drug costs. If you qualify for QNB, SLMB, or QI program, you qualify automatically for extra help, a separate program that helps pay for Medicare drug coverage, Part D. Important Medicare savings programs are available through your state. The names of these programs and how they work may vary by state. Medicare savings programs aren't available in Puerto Rico or the U.S. Virgin Islands. So take, for example, in California, Medicaid is called Medi-Cal, which is MEDI-CAL. So how do I qualify? Okay, in most cases, to qualify for a Medicare savings program, you must have income and resources below a certain limit. Income and resources may vary state by state. Even if you don't think you qualify, you should still apply. Contact your state Medi-Cal assistance medical assistance Medicaid office to get started. To get the phone number for your state's Medicaid office, visit medicaid.gov/about-us/beneficiary-resources/index.html #state menu, or call 1-800-Medicare 800-633-4227. So that's the biggest thing. I think right now people are very concerned about Medicaid, Medi-Cal changing. In California, I would say um, I've been hearing it is in talks that they are going to bring asset limits back. So in the state of California, there were obviously the income requirements and then an asset limit requirement. And over the years, they lowered it down to 100,000 assets, and then they lowered it down to zero. So basically, if you were making $0 income but had 1 million in assets or in the bank, you are still be able to get Medicaid slash Medi-Cal in California. But, more to that when it comes. But that's what I've been hearing. I mean, it could take a while to get that implemented again. Okay, so get extra help paying your Medicare drug costs. If you have limited income and resources, you may qualify for extra help, a program to help pay some Medicare drug costs like premiums, deductibles, and coinsurance. You may qualify for extra help if your yearly income and resources are below these limits in 2024. So single person less than 22,590 and resources less than 17,220, and then married person living with a spouse and no other dependents. Income should be 30,660 or less, and then resource less than 34,360. So keep in mind this is different from Medicaid, right? Like in California, there is no asset limits, but here there is some asset limits when getting extra help for your drugs. And so what does that extra help entail? Let's typically say if the drug, I mean, this is just an example, the drug costs $42 or $35. Instead of that, there's tiers depending on really like your qualified Medicare beneficiary QMB or the SLMB or the QI or the QDWI. Based on that, there's tiers. So let's just say you're like on that lowest tier, it'd be $10. Like a medium tier is $4, and then like you have 100% coverage for Medicaid, then it'll be zero cost to you. So that's how that works. Okay. So, extra help has expanded to cover more drugs for certain people with limited income and resources. Of course, if anything's a case that it's very expensive, we could definitely talk to your doctor, see if there's any generics, or we could also see if there's any foundations or drug savings programs that could be beneficial to you. So in some situations, you may qualify even if you have a higher income. For example, if you still work, live in Alaska or Hawaii, or have dependents living with you, the income limits are higher. Resources include money in a checking or savings account, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and individual retirement IRAs. Okay, so don't include your home, car, household items, burial plot up to 1,500 for burial expenses per person or life insurance policies. You can find 2025 income and resource limits on Medicare.gov. If you qualify for extra help and join a separate Medicare drug plan or Medicare Advantage plan with Medicare drug coverage Part D, you get help paying your drug coverage costs. You won't pay a Part D late enrollment penalty. Extra help isn't available in Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, or American Samoa. But there are other programs available in these areas to help people with limited income and resources. Go to page 96. To note on that, you do not have a Part D late enrollment penalty, which is nice if you didn't enroll in time. Okay, cost and coverage. Most people with Medicare can only switch plans at certain times of the year. If you have Medicaid or get extra help, you may be able to change your drug coverage once a calendar month. Okay, let's say that again. Most people with Medicare can only switch plans at certain times of the year. If you have Medicaid or get extra help, you may be able to change your drug coverage once a calendar month. If you make a change, it will take effect on the first day of the month. For more information, go to medicare.gov/special-enrollment periods and select I have Medicare and Medicaid or get extra help paying for Medicare drug coverage. So with this case, this could change yearly. In prior years, it was you could only change quarterly. Now they changed it to monthly with a true Medicaid plan. Okay, so if you qualify automatically for extra help, if you have Medicare and meet any of these conditions, you have full Medicaid coverage. You get help from your state Medicaid program to pay your Part B premiums and other Medicare costs. Go to page 91 to 96. You get a supplemental security income SSI benefits. Medicare will mail you a purple letter to let you know qualify automatically for extra help. Keep this for your records. You don't need to apply for extra help if you get this letter. Okay. I've never seen the purple letter. I've seen yellow, but let's move on. If you don't already have Medicare drug coverage Part D, you must get it to use extra help. If you don't have drug coverage, Medicare may enroll you in a separate Medicare plan, so you'll be able to use the extra help. If Medicare enrolls you in a plan, you'll get a yellow letter letting you know when your coverage begins, and you have a special enrollment period to change plans if you want to join a different plan than the one Medicare enrolled you in. So yes, so it does show the yellow letter. I have not seen the purple letter. So I don't know. I'm going to have to look out for that. It's usually a yellow letter when you're applying or reapplying for these extra help. But that's what I've seen. Okay, different plans cover different drugs. Check to find out if the plans you're enrolled in covers the drugs you use and if you go to the pharmacy you want. Visit medicare.gov/plan-compare or call 1-800-MEDICARE 800-633-4227 to compare your plan with other plans in your area. Definitely every plan could be different with formulary and tiers. That's why it's definitely great to review that once a year. If you have Medicaid and live in certain institutions like a nursing home or get certain home and community-based services, you pay nothing for your covered drugs. Drug costs for people who qualify will generally be no more than $4.50 for each generic drug and $11.20 for each brand name drug you fill out at your plan's participating pharmacies. Look at the extra help letters you get to contact your plan if you have questions about costs. Yeah, so it's a little bit more than the $10 I had mentioned. So it's $4.50 now and then $11.20 for the more brand name drugs. Okay. Let's go on to page 94. Get help paying your health and drug costs. If you don't want to join a separate Medicare drug plan, for example, because you want only your employer union coverage, call the plan instead in your letter or call 1-800-MEDICARE. Tell them you don't want to be in a Medicare drug plan, you want to opt out. If you continue to qualify for extra help or if your employer union coverage is credible prescription drug coverage, you won't have to pay a penalty if you join later. Okay, important you have employer union coverage and you get Medicare drug coverage Part D. You may lose your employer or union coverage for you and your dependents, even if you qualify for extra help. Call your benefits administrator before you get Medicare drug coverage. If you didn't qualify automatically for extra help, you could apply at any time at ssa.gov/extra help. When you apply for extra help, you could also begin the application process for a Medicare savings program. These State programs help with other Medicare costs. Social Security will send information to your state to initiate an MSP application, unless you tell them not to on the extra help application. To get help choosing drug coverages and answers to your questions about extra help, call your state health insurance program SHIP. Go to pages 114 to 117 for the phone number of your local SHIP, or you could also call 1-800 Medicare. Okay. Yeah, so typically when you do turn 65, you do get on Medicare. They do send you these extra help forms, and clients are just like, do I need to fill it out? Well, it really depends on your income. Um, I would say that your income and your assets, just because, I mean, who wants to waste time filling that out and you're going to get declined anyways. Um, just a side note on Medicaid or Medi-Cal, um, definitely it's good to apply, even though you might be borderline, not Medicare. Sometimes what happens to clients is they apply, they're super happy, and they're like, Jennifer, I got approved. But when I read it, it's actually they have a share of cost. So what share of cost does is actually um, you basically have to spend a certain amount on your health care before the Medicaid kicks in. So sometimes it's just too much for you to spend something. Sometimes it's just an extra drug plan that you could get to definitely get that benefit. So case by case basis, give us a call and we get to go over that with you as well. So other ways to save on Medicare healthcare costs: Medicaid. Medicaid is a joint federal and state program that helps pay healthcare costs if you have limited income and in some cases resources and meet other requirements. Some people qualify for both Medicare and Medicaid. What does Medicaid cover? If you have Medicare and full Medicaid coverage, most of your health care costs are covered. You get your Medicare coverage through original Medicare or a Medicare Advantage plan like a special needs plan. Go to page 70. If you have Medicare and full Medicaid, Medicare covers your prescription drugs. You qualify automatically for extra help paying your Medicare drug coverage, page 92. Medicaid may still cover some drugs that Medicare doesn't cover. People with full Medicaid coverage may get coverage for services that Medicare doesn't cover for only partial covers, like nursing home care, personal care, transportation to medical services, home and community based services, home delivered meals, and dental, vision, and hearing services. Okay, what I wanted to talk to you about is sometimes people do ask, like, do I what do I do? Like, I have Medicare and Medicaid. Do I have to do anything else? So definitely, you could stay on original Medicare, right? Because with the original Medicare, with the hospital deductibles, and then also the 20% co-insurances, that is really paid for, paid by Medicaid slash Medi-Cal in California. Um, but sometimes seniors, they definitely want more benefits, and sometimes these Medicare Advantage plans have much more benefits, you name it, like grocery cards, pest control, utility cards, more transportation, more dental, more over the counter. So sometimes these plans have so many benefits that the Medicaid recipient with the Medicare doesn't want to pass it up, right? But of course, it's going to depend on your specific situation, because if you do get on a Medicare Advantage plan, you do get to be on a network, either if it's HMO, which is one doctor, one primary doctor that refers you out to all the specialists, or you could have a PPO, but really they say that's not advisable. So it's going to be on a case-to-case basis. You just have one doctor and that's it. It might be great to just stay on your actually get on Medicare Advantage, right, for the extra benefits. But if you have like 5 doctors, 5 specialists, you go to different clinics, it might be a little bit harder to just get on a plan that's HMO. but you do lose out on some benefits. So when it works is like if a senior with Medicaid just wants extra groceries, right? I mean, in this day and age, everything is going up. So that 100, the 150 or whatever they receive in groceries could definitely help per month. So definitely just depends on everyone's situation. That's why consulting with us, we definitely could help you to make sure you understand how all these plans work in conjunction to each other. So let us go to page 95. How do I qualify? Um, Medicaid programs vary from state to state. They may also have different names like medical assistance or Medi-Cal. Each state has different income and resource requirements. Call your state medical assistance Medicaid office to find if you qualify. Visit medicaid.gov slash about us slash beneficiary dash resources slash index.html hashtag statement, or call 1-800-Medicare to get the phone number for your state Medicaid office. If you're eligible for both Medicare and Medicaid, contact your local state health assistance program for help with your options. Go to page 114 to 117 for the phone number for your local SHIP or shiphelp.org. So, do you want to touch on this a little bit more? Many people are concerned. They don't want to get on Medicaid or Medi-Cal because they feel like if they do, once they pass, the government is going to like repossess their home or take their assets and so forth, and they definitely don't want that. So there's caveats. I mean, if you really need the money, you do qualify for Medicaid, then yes, go on it. So the biggest thing what people are scared about getting on Medicaid, even though they qualify, is the asset recovery. So basically, asset recovery is upon your death, the government could go after you to, or not you, or your estate, to recoup all the costs that Medicaid did pay for you. So, what I've seen, or when I talk to um, others in the field, they have mentioned that really the majority of the costs that they do want to recoup money would be the nursing home facilities, those long-term care facilities that might be very expensive. So that was the biggest one. But if you do have your home in a trust, they can't recoup that, right? Because the trust is protected. It doesn't go through probate. So the government can only do an asset recovery if they wanted to your assets that go through probate. So I suggest definitely talking to an attorney, making sure that everything's good. Upon your passing, and everything lines up with your trust, your wills, titles, and so forth, just so it's not a headache or hassle in the future. So I think that's the biggest thing. Better to plan ahead for that to make sure that whoever you want to get your assets upon your passing will have the ability to get it. I just been seeing so many cases, and where older moms and dads are relying on their kids, and some kids are not playing fair and selling their property without their siblings' knowledge and things like that. So really, definitely get your ducks in a row. Be it if you're on the sandwich generation, taking care of your elderly parents, or even your children, just because I just hear it so much that people do fight about assets, money, right? So get that taken care of. So I'll be signing off now. Once again, this is Jennifer Lee with the Medicare 360 show. It's a great conversation topic today. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. You have a great day. Thank you.